Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the Bareknuckle podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've seen us before, welcome back. I'm surrounded by great people here. I have Robic Samborski, also known as Captain Courageous, Captain Chaos, Captain Controversial sometimes. Also joining us is Dave Cook, the man behind the Instagram series What's Cooking? And of course, our guest of honor. Some people know him as GGH. Some people know him as Garage Gym Homey. But we here in the know, we call him our good friend Ari. Ari, welcome. Everybody, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Blessed to be here.
So all the questions were blown up for me first. I mean, Ari, you were the first test subject for mad. I don't know how many mads there are. I know there's a bunch of mads on that label. 4.
Yeah.
And I know you did a review, but so talk to us live here. What were your thoughts? Talk to us high, low. I know you got as high as vagina. I mean, highest giraffe, whatever. But go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect from it. I was excited about it. I was like, man, I was excited. And as I was saying, before we were talking about how I just came off a Stim break and just went cold turkey and, had like a little reset. And so I was like, man, I bet this has, all these things, stimulants, I felt guilty about taking it. I was like, that's just going to make me feel guilty, but it was great. I took it and I didn't regret, if you haven't seen the review, like I didn't regret taking the full scoop. I didn't find it to be, I found it to be just right. I just put me in this, this energized, euphoric, just clean. It was very clean energy. Just was flying high on it. Not in a like a drug addict illicit sense. Just felt good. Just felt good on it, and I just had a fun time. Talking. I just had a good time in the review. I was fired up. People can tell when I review stuff when I'm like really fired up, when I'm feeling it, because I put my heart into it, because I'm feeling the energy and just having a great time. So yeah, no, it was a good experience, really good. Felt great on it.
All right, when you do your reviews, do you do it like right after workout on that same product, or do you kind of assess everything and do the product review like the day after? What is your cadence of product to review?
It depends. Sometimes, like if I really want to see the like how something's gonna like feel for the next few hours or whatever, I'll wait till the next time to review it. So I might be on a different product while I'm reviewing it, and I'll have like the full idea of how it felt the rest of the day and everything. But usually what I do is I'll take the product in the morning, I'll train on it. I take just about all the products on an empty stomach, so I get like the full effect, and I really know what's what. And I've gone into it with 8+ hours of sleep, so I'm feeling really optimal. So for me, there's not like a bunch of variations where it's like, oh, you might not have slept well that night. I always go in the reviews like super optimal, feeling good. So I have a really good idea of how the product's going to work. And then I'll usually wait till the next session and then review the product I did previously,
Okay.
Yeah.
Robic, so someone's asking, how much flack did you get for the prop blend? And I know we talked about it with Jason Arntz on a previous podcast. I mean, what's the overall reception?
The overall reception is great. And, obviously I have to thank Ari for it because I think he did a phenomenal job with the review. But you know what? We talk always about the things that, or at least I talk about it, things that I value in people, that I admire in people. And besides honesty, being straightforward, being a good friend, being loyal, those are just a few, I think, that the standard threats that I admire about people. But sense of humor never gets mentioned. And I think that that is something that is lost. Sense of humor. We're talking about April's Fools. I wish that I could take the credit for this sort of style of creation, but I think it goes to Black Sun. because Glaxon a couple of years ago, Dave probably remembers this because, his association with Glaxon when they released for April's Fools a proprietary blend that was the real thing. And I thought it was very funny, and I'm never one, to shy away from saying that when I admire something, I don't copy anyone. So, I mean, obviously the formulas are different, very different. But the style, I think, is, the idea, I thought it was brilliant. And considering the fact that last year when Shane visited upon, we posted about Assassin Extreme or something like that had like 900 or 1,000 milligram of caffeine, and obviously it was a joke. We never released it, and it never came to fruition. This year we thought, like, why don't we release something funny? Just funny, just for the sake of a joke. And the idea from Glaxon, I kind of borrowed the idea, and I said, we're gonna capitalize on that. We're gonna do something unique, something our own style. And I still can't stress enough, because apparently some people are just stupid; they don't get it. I don't admire, I don't respect, and I don't do proprietary blends. I just don't. This is not part of a pollen arsenal. This is not one of our staple products. This was released as a joke, but at the same time, if I believed in proprietary blend, this is exactly what I would have done. Because Ari can attest to it, because the guy is super, super honest, and that's what I admire about him so much. Ari and I had an agreement because he asked me to see the formula, and he saw the formula. He knows that this is not a typical prop blend formula. He knows everything is very, very fully dosed. And he said, you know what, I'll look at it, but I will not disclose it. I want you to keep it between us. So he knows that this is fully dosed pre-workout. I mean, it's actually overdosed pre-workout, if I may say so. But we put in a proprietary blend as a joke. And, it was released. I knew it's going to kick ass. I knew it's going to be a phenomenal pre-workout. It exceeded my expectations. I still probably am the only one, because so far I hear that people like the flavor. I personally don't. Ari disagreed with me. Thankfully, people listen to him more than they listen to me when it comes to it. So, it's a win-win situation for us. It came out as a great thing. And in terms of a flag, yeah, some people didn't get the joke. Obviously, they think like, wow, Apollon is going proprietary blend, which I don't think how many times I said it's not the case. But at the same time, I would still say that overwhelming number of people absolutely got it. They love it. They're excited about it. It's selling great. I mean, on a wholesale spectrum of it, we completely sold out before even the launch. I believe we were sold out on Wednesday, and we launched the product on Friday. So there was just some left. And I talked to Ari yesterday about it, that he did such a phenomenal job, and obviously he's a collaborator on a product. That we said, you know what, we're going to obviously release it again, because there is demand for it. Everybody at Apollon Gym loves it. Everybody who tried it, they love it. Justin, Supplement Snoop, he said that it's a phenomenal pre-workout, and he's always very, very honest with me. So yeah, overwhelmingly positive reaction, positive response. But yeah, of course, you get a couple of people that just didn't get it, but that comes with everything in life.
Dave, you seem like me a little bit. You're more the Stim, lower Stim guy. Is this on your radar? Be honest here. Is this something you're going to try or no?
To be honest, if I'm doing the hierarchy of stuff that's in the Apollon catalog, it's not way up there on my list of need to try. I'm more of like, if I do it like on a daily basis, like that Lionheart, that's like sweet spot for me sometimes. I love Bareknuckle too, and if I combine that with something else that's like just a Stim bomb, that's perfect. But I don't always chase some of these things, but like everybody else, I like to have a little fun every now and then. So sometimes I'll go after these big guys, but not all the time though.
All right, I want to ask you. So how is it 2.5 years now since you built the channel? Like, are you surprised at how much influence or how big the channel has grown?
Kind of a funny question. It's on one hand, I'm like, wow, look how far it's come, and then on the other hand, I'm like, man, a lot of these fitness guys have like 1 million subscribers. I'm like, this is BS, I'm like, this is so like held back from I mean, doing supplements and stuff, you know, like it keeps the channel like very niche. So it stops it from being able to grow to really where I want it to, because only so many people care about Stim Junkie pre-workouts. You know what I mean? It's a very niche thing, you know, where, and constantly doing, you know, I'm really blessed, you know, a lot of companies reach out to me, and, you know, I'm really trying to keep my circle small and not accept things from people I don't already deal with, you know, and so I can really focus on doing more content that I want to make, you know, fitness stuff, training, nutrition, addiction recovery, stuff that really comes from here.
Yep.
And so I see it both ways. Like, I'm really happy with how it's grown. I've never, you know, never thought I didn't start the channel thinking I could make $1. I had no clue there'd be money involved, or that I could have an affiliate with NutriCartel or whatever, you know what I mean? Where there'd be opportunities to make some, you know, icing on the cake. Obviously, it's just extras, and I'm grateful for it, you know, but it's opened up the doors to a lot of stuff for me that I didn't think was possible. So I'm really grateful for it. And at the same time, I'm like disappointed that it's not growing faster. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a both, you know, both things.
But was there okay? So maybe a dissimilar question. Was there a point where like you logged in one day and saw, you know, 2,000, 3,000, whatever numbers, and said, "Wow, I'm really onto something here"? Or people
There was
like
a point where I got a YouTube send me a monthly report where it said you're getting 1,000 subscribers a month now, and I was like, all right, that's nice growth, because if I continue to do that, then, you know, by this time I'll have, you know, then I could see 100,000 subscribers happening, you know, like there's a point where I could see that there will be some real growth, you know. And so, yeah, it's been, man, I'm just blessed that I get a lot of, it's been all love, you know, like with the channel. Like, obviously you get once in a while, like somebody who has, you know, no evidence of them doing anything in their lives, you know, talking junk or something, but it's very rare, you know. It's been all love. So the feedback has been surprising. I've been surprised by how supportive and loving everybody's been, you know. Really.
And obviously you got the family in now too, which is a nice change sometimes. When you see
I like to throw the girls in there, you know. We do the taste test and have a good time, and, you know, I like it. Yeah.
I don't know which one of your reviews, that one of the girls was like, I give it a 0 or -4 or something. It was just really, really weird. She threw some number out and you were like, what?
Yeah, there's been some like some protein bars that are just not that great. They reviewed stuff like that, you know. A couple of the products, they actually love the cookies and cream Apollon one, and they love the hot rice. They love a lot of those, but some of the just random protein bars and stuff they didn't like, you know.
Guys, I don't want to manipulate here. Robic and Dave, chime in here.
Well, I think from my perspective, I can say this because, you know, obviously as a brand, I do pay attention to some of the reviewers. And when Ari came on the scene, I was very, very skeptical. I was very skeptical because the thing is the guy was absolutely clueless. I think he's still clueless, you know, but
Oh, we love you though.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing is, I think that's the beauty about Ari, because obviously, you know, just like Ari gets, he's reached by many brands, you know, to review the products. We are reached by, you know, Ari and I talked about it yesterday, actually, on the phone. There is a reviewer every fucking day. There is 10 reviewers every day. They popping like brands left and right. Let me review your product. Let me review your product. I mean, okay, you know, you can buy it and review it. I can't prevent you from reviewing it, but you're not a reviewer. I think that the beauty about Ari and where he is unique is, I think, his honesty. His honesty and his background. It's very, very easy. Yes, his knowledge is not there, and me and him are friends. So, you know, his knowledge is limited when it comes to ingredients, but he doesn't hide behind it. I think that honesty and transparency that he has, he reminds me of, you know, me in a way. He says it like it is. He's not one of those guys who's gonna say, "Oh, I've been taking this pre-workout for fucking 2 weeks, and this is my review." I sent him personally, Mad World. I sent him on Monday. I didn't have it before Monday, and it was cutting it close. It was really cutting. He was very worried. He was even kind of sort of upset. He goes to me, "Well, I'm gonna get it only, a day or two before the launch." And I said to him, "Yeah," I said, "you'll get it probably by Wednesday. It's going to be enough for you to take it once or twice, and that's it." He took it once. And then during his review, he said he took it only once. He didn't say, "I took it 5 times or 10 times. I took it in the morning. I took half a scoop, 3/4 of a scoop." He was like, basically, "Yeah, I took it once, and this is my report." I think that's the honesty that the viewers and his fans come to appreciate from him. He's not a reviewer that's going to break down the ingredients for you, each and every ingredient, what ingredient does from scientific point of view or anything like that. And that's fine, because we have those reviewers, and those reviewers sometimes don't exactly report truthfully. If a certain ingredient needs to be 500 milligram, but it's 100 milligram, they're actually going to make it sound like it's phenomenal, but it's underdosed. So their knowledge is out the window because it means absolutely nothing. They got paid to promote something. Ari is not going to say to you, from a scientific point of view, this ingredient does this and that. He's going to tell you about his experience. And I think that honesty, that's the reason why his channel keeps growing, because people can relate to it. Average gym goer doesn't know much about the difference between bare knuckle and C4. But the average gym goer knows the experience, knows what he gets out of the product. To him, 10,000 milligram of citrulline and 6,000 milligram of citrulline might not feel any different. And I think that that's the reason why his channel is growing, because he's unique. He's unique, and most of all, he's honest. I can reach out to Ari today and talk about drug addiction, and he's going to be very, very straightforward about it. I can talk to him about TRT and how much testosterone he's taking, and he's going to tell me, "I'm taking this much testosterone, and this is what I do. This is what the doctor put me on." So I think that the honesty, people can relate to it. I think that's the secret. You can't review products, and every product is phenomenal. And I'm going to disagree with Ari on something that he mentioned a few minutes ago, where he said that, he's a Stim Junkie pre-workout reviewer or something like that. That's not true. He actually, I think, evolved into a full-blown reviewer, because he reviews proteins and bars and hot rice and what else. I mean, I think he evolved quite a bit, and it's all about evolution. And the fact that his girls are maybe not knowledgeable, but at least they know the difference between a fucking good tasting bar and a shitty tasting bar. And I think that that's where Ari comes, and basically that's where he shines. This is it. So you have a lot of reviewers, but not many of his caliber. And I think the simplicity and, him being him, and actually not deviating from him, and not trying to fucking reinvent the wheels and trying to be all of a sudden a scientist or something like that. That's the beauty about it. There were times where he would reach out to me and ask me about a certain ingredient, and you know what? He was not shy about it. He was not uncomfortable. He was like, "Fuck, I don't know. Tell me." And I admire that. I think that's, Ari, I have to congratulate you on your success. Just keep doing what you're doing. Fuck everything else.
Thanks.
Yeah. If I could chime in too.
Hey, please.
No, go ahead. Ari, if you want to comment back on that, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, yeah. So I appreciate your words. A lot of people don't know this. I actually got contracted by they pay me to do unbiased reviews. It's a site. They wanted me to be the face to help them get started, called Preworkout World. And I haven't announced it or anything, because, it's their thing. But they paid me to do a bunch of a ton of videos about ingredients, and each video, what L-tyrosine does in a pre-workout, what citrus. I was like, man, I hate this. Like, I have to study now, like figure this out. And I made a ton of these videos, 3 to 5 minute videos about each ingredient. and I learned a ton about it. You know, I was able to pick up on just a ton of information by making these. It kind of forced me into doing what I didn't want to do. You know what I mean? It's easy to go and say, yeah, L-citrulline, that's for the pumps, you know, like in my reviews. But to really dive into 3 minutes about L-citrulline and everything about it, and you know what I mean, and each
It does help.
ingredient, it put me in a corner where I was like, man, I freaking hate this, but I'm gonna do it. And I learned a lot. And obviously, like, the channel's been up for 3.5 years, so you know I've learned a ton just by being around. You know, watching other reviewers, watching David Fredrickson. You know, a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes, but like, you think I've reached out to Rob? I've reached out to David Fredrickson. He's probably tired of me because I've reached out to him about a ton of stuff I review. I'm like, I need to know intel about how these two ingredients work together, what this ingredient is or whatever. And he's always taking the time to give me like answers and stuff. And so I've never been scared to reach out to people to ask for help and stuff, but I've learned a ton. I mean, I've reviewed 450 pre-workouts now, literally.
Wow.
50. And I've reviewed, I have 1,600 videos. So the rest are fat burners, stim-free pre-workouts, proteins, nootropics, and all that. So I'm just naturally, by reviewing them and inquiring, I mean, I pick up a lot of information. So, you know, what I knew 3.5 years ago, you know, obviously I've learned a ton since then, you know what I mean? So I've been really grateful to grow into it, you know. And as I said, I'm still not a scientist, or I don't really focus on that part, you know, as far as like I don't go over the label for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I go over the label and give a brief summary of what the ingredients do and what I think of the dosages and stuff. And then, you know, I keep it to the experience because, you know, it's just, I think the majority of people want to know what's going to happen when I ingest this powder or pill in my body. You know, what's this going to do to me? You know,
Yep.
so I try and give them that. So sorry to cut you off, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, you know, I love the little groove that you've got yourself in. And not saying that you're not going to continue to evolve, because I think everybody wants to continue to grow and evolve and all things like that. But, you know, I come to your videos and I watch you, just like you said, for the experience. And I know that going in, and there are other reviewers, like you just mentioned, David Fredrickson. If I want a little bit deeper scientific dive, that's who I'm going to look at. But, you know, I know what I'm going into and getting into when I watch your videos and your reviews. And, you know, you've built a very good, you know, I don't even know how to say it for yourself, but you know what I mean? You found your groove, and I love that about it. And, you know, I love watching your videos. They're entertaining. I love when you talk about how, you know, living in your heart, not in your head. You know, there are days where I don't want to train, and you know, I just watch a video of yours and you say that, you know, your head's going to give up on you much quicker than, you know, your heart's going to. And, you know, and you change my whole perception on the day. And, you know, it's things like that. I think a lot of people appreciate that.
I appreciate that, man. I really try to make it where the reviews are just kind of an avenue for people to come to the channel. And I want them to almost be secondary, you know, to like like the message and the motivation and what I'm trying to, you know, bring value to people's lives, you know, and get people fired up about pumping iron or spirituality or staying sober or, you know, praying to God or whatever it is, you know, that I'm into. And that kind of stuff reinforces it in my own life, you know, just connecting with people. That's why I do it. I mean, the messages on the Instagram and the YouTube, I mean, I respond to every comment. I've never not responded to a comment, and I got into it to connect with people. So I genuinely just love the channel, you know, and that's also one of the advantages of the channel not growing so much, is that I'm able to respond to every single person and comment and know, you know, who all these viewers are. And I remember each name and, you know, these people who comment. It's like I know them all, you know. It's kind of a cool thing. It's like a little community. So it's just been a light to my life, you know. What a great project, because I've started so many things in my life that I didn't follow through with. And then I picked up, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. I bought the dang guitar. It sat there collecting dust. You know, I've done so many things that I didn't follow. And this channel, it's like I started it from nothing. And I actually, one of the few things in my life that I actually followed through and committed to. So it means a lot to me, you know.
So Ari, congratulations, obviously on the collaboration endeavor, whatever you mentioned with that website. So you say next weekend we should do a class and session with you and David Fredrickson then?
Me and David, yeah, I love that guy, man. I love him. Great dude.
So David, we got a question for you here. Where do you see the new company Dialed In Supplements going in the future? I haven't done any research, or I don't know anything about them. I don't know if...
Yeah, so that's a smaller company that's I've kind of been in contact with. And so, like, you know, let me, just before I get into that, you know, as Ari said, you know, he's one of these, you know, reviewers that's extremely well established. He said he wants to keep his circle small. I myself, on the other hand, you know, fairly new to all of these things, you know, I'm dealing sometimes with some of these smaller guys, and I feel genuinely blessed when somebody reaches out to me, asks me to, you know, take a look at their product, take a look at their formula, you know, give an honest review on something like that. So this is a smaller brand. I think they've only got 2 products out. They've got like an electrolytes, and they're coming out with a creatine. So, you know, it's hard for these companies to get into these spaces and compete with some of these bigger guys. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I feel like sometimes I can help to, you know, pay my dues by helping these guys get the word out there a little bit more about them. Cause like, you know, how many supplement companies are there? Everybody can start one. It's not hard, but you know, throughout the whole process. So I do want to still be honest, and, you know, cause like I see some of these that are startups, and they, you know, quite frankly, they're junk. And, you know, others I think that I can maybe help a little bit, you know, if I can, great, you know, and hopefully I can, you know, pay it forward a little bit to some of these people that are nice enough to reach out to me, that want to converse with me and things like that. So I feel blessed and honored about that.
I'm looking at them now.
So Robic, we had a quick, go ahead, Ari, I'm sorry.
I see. No, I'm looking at this Dialed In. So I looked them up. I was
Okay.
yeah, they have 2 products. And Dave brings up a good point. You know, a lot of companies, they're not brands, you know, they're company. I'm not talking junk about them. I don't know them, but you know, they come out with one product and then you never hear from them again. And then there's other companies like, you know, ones we know who focus on the brand, you know, building a brand, you know, whether there's branding, there's Panda Sups. That's a brand. You think of Panda, you don't think of one product, you think of like a brand they built, you know, huge stuff. You know, some of these companies who are, you know, the difference between a product and a brand is huge, you know, and that's the ones who you see, you know, successful. You know, anyone with $5,000 can, 10 grand, whatever, can start a pre-workout, and then you never hear from them again. You know, it's like, what are you focused on, just one product or building a brand? You know, so I've seen that a lot with people. You know.
Yep. Robic, someone had asked for you, what's the new combat sports pre-workout that's been in the works? Are you familiar with that statement? I thought Lionheart was kind of like almost not the combat, but
I think that's probably the ingredient that I sent out to Dave. I think it's they're mistaking it for the ingredient. There is an ingredient that in the works by a major, and I mean major company, that I cannot yet disclose the name. And I've been lucky enough to be, I want to say, selected to test the ingredient, to test the product. Well, not the product, the ingredient. And that's what we've been doing. You know, I sent it out to a bunch of friends, and, you know, we tested it with a bunch of fighters, a bunch of endurance athletes, and so far everybody loves it. I'm not sure yet how we're going to use it, because there are a couple of technical challenges when it comes to using the ingredient, which I will get into a little bit later. In terms of combat, I mean, Lionheart stays staple. We obviously had Kumite, which was in a pill form. I'm still going back and forth, you know, whether to re-release it and improve on the formula. The main reason is because sometimes for convenience, people do like the pills, especially fighters. They just drop it in their bag and they're good to go. So I'm thinking about it. You know, I haven't made any decisions yet. Lionheart V2, the formula has been done last year. So I've been thinking, I mean, Lionheart was very, very slow product to start because, obviously, mostly who are using the products are people that are lifting weights. Lionheart, even though it's great for lifting weights, but it's not exactly a Stim Junkie product, yet it's not a non-Stim product either. It kind of falls in between. Not the best one when it comes to pump, but it's fairly decent. Now Lionheart really took off. Lionheart is a very popular product for us. It's doing phenomenal. I know Dave, of course, and yourself, Sean, you made it pretty popular. I don't know if I ever sent it to Ari, so I'm probably going to have to send it to Ari also to give it a review. But Lionheart is doing great.
I reviewed it.
You reviewed it, right? A while ago.
Lionheart when it first dropped. It was great.
When it first dropped. So it was probably sometimes about 2 years ago, maybe, or something like that. So we're going to most likely release a new formula towards the end of the year or maybe in 2025. And that's about it. We have a different pre-workout, which is in the works. Well, not in the works. It's actually being released in May. And that's going to be, we discussed this a couple of times, and I mentioned it. I absolutely despise the word daily driver because I just think it's the stupidest thing that I don't know who came up with it, but I think it's really, really dumb. A daily driver can be assassin and a daily driver can be bare knuckle. I mean, a daily driver is whatever you think that's a daily driver for you. But it seems to me like the daily driver now is something that is in most cases, and I can mention a couple of brands that are considered solid, and good brands. But when I look at the formula, I mean, let's be honest, it's just an underdosed product made to be cheap. That's all it is. So I kind of did my own spin on it, where it's going to be just not as strong as Hooligan, but it's not going to be exactly a non-Stim either. Just something in between, but at the same time, great on pump, great on everything. And we tried our best to keep the cost as low as possible, very, very affordable. But I still refuse to call it a daily driver. I would prefer to call it cost-effective pre-workout, that is a little bit maybe mainstream, something that we haven't done. So it's going to be sort of kind of like Lionheart, but, with more pump. So that one is coming out, but that's pretty much it. And nothing specific for combat other than Lionheart V2 in the near future, and maybe something in the pill form, but that's not concrete.
Okay. So Ari, someone's asking for you, do lifestyle brands have less appeal than hardcore to you? But again, hardcore I know is a very loose term on everybody's mind.
What lifestyle brand is that? Like
look at a Ghost, like maybe a Ghost is a lifestyle brand. I don't know would you consider lifestyle brands, David or Robic?
No, listen, I review as a reviewer, I like to give each individual product a fair shake. I mean, I really don't like to just, I know there's I go by each product, I never Raw. Okay, Raw Nutrition. I've never reviewed anything by them. I don't know. I see a bunch of fanboys on Instagram. They take the pictures with it. It's like a big thing. Same with Ghost. I didn't know what to think of them. The other day I reviewed the Super Thavage pre-workout. Thing was freaking awesome. It had the nitrates. It had it was like a Stim. It was a high Stim. It was like a loaded as 32-gram scoop of just a bunch of blew my head off. I'm like, this stuff is amazing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't really categorize them like this hardcore is good, this is bad. I like to just go by each product and see what they're doing, and so I don't know. I saw Ghost and I was like, their branding's amazing. I'm like, look at what they do. They have this big buzz, and then I saw their new pre-workout, and I'm like, oh man, they ruined it. They took out the one little thing I really liked was the 1.5 milligrams of alpha yo. Now it looks like a super just uneventful, boring pre to me. So I'm like, I don't, so I just go by each product, I guess. I don't really think of it like that,
Okay.
good or bad. with the
I agree. I agree with Ari. I think all this terminology, lifestyle, this, hardcore, that. Hardcore is what you, I mean, for some people, hardcore is going to be ghost. That can be hardcore. If you're not using any stims or anything like that, that can be hardcore. You take 300 milligram of caffeine, and that can be very, very hardcore for some people. For some people, 700 milligram of caffeine, they're going to feel like it's nothing. They can go probably to bed. It's just a stupid terminology. If it comes, if we are going to talk about brands, Apollon was considered and still considered by many as a hardcore brand. I disagree. I don't think we are a hardcore brand. I think we are a premium brand because, we do all kind of stuff, and maybe we started off as a hardcore brand, emphasizing just strong pre-workouts like Hooligan and Assassin. But I think we kind of, definitely took a different turn. And I think, with the health line and everything that we do, I think we expanded and people do buy from us, not just Hooligan and Assassin. In fact, Assassin is pretty much sold out and it's not going to be around for a while. And Hooligan's going to have a break as well because we almost sold out and the new one is not coming until August. And you know what? We're not panicking. We okay. We have other products that we can capitalize on. But there are certain things. I like the way Ghost expanded. And again, I refuse to call them lifestyle brand. Just a great brand, like what Ari said, great branding, great logos, great approach. Everything they do is amazing, from energy drinks. They have pretty good products as well. The collaborations, they're very, very multidimensional. And I like that. I like when brands are doing different things. I think you and I talked about Panda. I like Panda more earlier than what I see right now, to be honest with you, because I see these non-stop collaborations. They have pretty decent protein, but they don't emphasize that. They don't emphasize the aminos. They don't emphasize the greens. They don't emphasize. All you hear about Panda is collab with Black Magic, collab with Apollon, collab with this, collab with that. And that's about it. I feel like it's a little bit one-dimensional. I think that, there is more to brand. When they started, I thought that the whole logo and the branding and everything else and the products, I was very, very impressed. Now it's, in my opinion, it's very, very one-dimensional. I mean, if I'm to be honest, I like to see a little bit more. I like what Ari said. There is a difference between products and brands. If you're a brand, you can start with two products. We started with two products. There's nothing wrong with starting with two products. But if you want to grow a brand, there are so many different categories that you can do. There are so many things you can do and you can really expand and grow. And that's the reason why Ghost has these. But at the same time, they have very popular energy drinks that keep growing like weed very, very fast. And, the protein with the collaborations, they really have done an amazing job. I'm a little bit tired of it now, collaboration with these, collaboration with that. But at the same time, it's good that they expanding and they different and doing different categories. I think that's what's the difference between a brand that is multidimensional and tries to check all the marks rather than just being one-dimensional and doing one-trick pony. Because it's good to do something new, but at the same time, keep on evolving, keep on doing new things. I'm sorry, Dave, I cut you off. You wanted to say something.
No, I was going to say something from like a consumer perspective, though. I totally get what you're saying that, you like Apollon, you release a fish oil. How much buzz does that create? Not a lot, but you create a pre-workout. That's still a category that people gets them talking. So while I, can understand what you're saying about how, all you're seeing is pre-workouts from like a brand like Panda or something, and they're not focusing on the other things. From the people that I still talk to, that's where the buzz, unfortunately, maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately, that's what still gets the juices flowing.
Without a doubt, the buzz is always going to be pre-workouts,
Yeah.
But at the same time, well, you are right. We're not going to sell as much fish oil as we're going to sell pre-workout. That's just the way it is. But to be honest with you, we actually sell more protein than we sell anything else. Like 50-50, we sell more than we sell isolate. And we actually known now for it. When we were at the Arnold Classic, it's actually the protein that we sold the most. And the Bloodsport, which has no caffeine whatsoever. I don't even know if you can classify Bloodsport as a pre-workout because it's just a pump product. The pre-workouts are always going to create buzz, but at the same time, if you want to be a brand, you have to strive to do better. In my opinion, you cannot rely just on pre-workout, because the thing is, today Ari will review a pre-workout, and that's going to be a hot pre-workout. Guess what? Tomorrow that pre-workout is not going to be hot. It's going to be a different pre-workout that's going to be hot. It's the protein, it's the fish oil. That's what's going to consistently, sell. You don't even need to change the formula or anything else. But if you have a good fish oil like we do, because we do have an amazing fish oil, it will consistently sell. Will it sell as much as pre-workout? Probably not. But it will consistently sell. You just have to, you don't have to. Everybody does, the business the way they want to do it. But, brands like C-Bomb, Raw, brands like Ghost, we all talking about the fact that, those are the brands that are doing the most business. Those are the brands that are doing, getting the most buzz. But those brands have more than just the pre-workout. Those brands have actually a lot of products. Guess what? They still sell pre-workouts probably more than anything else. I'm pretty sure that Total War sells more than anything for Redcon. I'm pretty sure that C4 sells more than anything for Cellucor, but it's still a brand. And if you want to be a brand, and if you want to, I don't think we can take on Cellucor or Muscle Tech or any of those brands, because those are multi-million, billion-dollar brands. But that's a good example. The example is right in front of you. There are only so many collabs you can do. And you always have to kind of do something new, something fresh, because, we have transparent labels. If you have something good, well, I can just copy you. I can copy you, and you know what? There is nothing you can do about it because it's not against the law. But if it's a great, Ari and I talked also a couple of days ago about transparent protein. How many companies are doing transparent protein? Nobody's even focusing on that. There's probably maybe, 5 companies that are doing transparent proteins. The market is still very, very much untapped. And I wholeheartedly agree with what Ari said. There is a difference between, having 1 or 2 products and having a brand. And if you want to grow, then you grow. And that's the same with Ari. He started his channel reviewing pre-workouts. But today he reviews also protein. Today he reviews also protein bars. Today he reviews also cream of rice, which makes him not a Stim Junkie reviewer, which he was known for, but actually an actual reviewer who reviews supplements. And that's, I think, more admirable than just reviewing one thing.
Yeah. It's funny. I brought up Panda a week ago. I did I made a video, Panda Sups ranked worst to best. In my opinion, my number 1 product that was on the list is their proteins. That was number 1. My favorite Panda Sup. And the problem I have with a lot of the collabs, a lot of them are the same. You look at the form, you're like, that's kind of the same.
Same thing. It's
all
exactly
tweaked
the same
a little
thing.
bit.
A little. I agree.
Really so much. Their best products are not the collabs. It's their original products.
I agree.
And their protein is their number 1 thing to me. I love their protein. The flavors are amazing. The blend, it's a nice multi-faceted protein. It's just a good product. Everybody loves their proteins.
Well, at the Arnold Classic, the booth was right in front of us.
Yeah.
The entire front of the booth was just pre-workouts. That's all it was, just pre-workouts. Guess what? The protein were on the side that you couldn't even see.
No,
a lot.
I thought Panda protein is,
and the protein is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I would say it's actually among the better proteins on the market. It's a good protein. It looks good. But the thing is that if you emphasizing just the thing is you're becoming a one-trick pony. That's it. You do a pre-workout. We do a pre-workout. We release the pre-workout pretty much every month. But the thing is, apart from the pre-workout, we're coming up with greens. We're coming out with protein. We're coming out with different flavors. Inclusions, no inclusions, health line. You always have to, if you want to grow your brand, And again, perfect example, you should always take from successful brands. And that's Raw, that's Axe and Sledge, Who else? Ghost, obviously. NutriBio is phenomenal example. NutriBio is maybe it doesn't create a lot of buzz in the industry, but they stable company, they stable and highly respected company. Why? Because they deserve it. And when it comes to NutriBio, you don't talk about the pre-workouts, even though the pre-workouts actually pretty solid. You're talking about the entire brand because NutriBio offers everything. And guess what? Well, brands like Panda, and there are numerous other brands like that popping up with like, oh, look, latest collab, and then it goes down. Latest collab, and then it goes down. NutriBio doesn't have those spikes, but they here and they steady and they keep going. And you know what? They've been doing it for now what, decades?
Like
And
95 or 96, yeah.
yeah, they're still going. That's where the market is. So we're all trying to grow, we're trying to compete, and we're
Rise
trying to get better. What's that?
Rise too. Rise is another brand. Rise.
Yeah. They're also doing multi-dimensional things because Rise, when they started, don't forget, Rise started only a couple of years ago, maybe 7-8 years ago or something like that. And who did they bring? They brought Conor McGregor, one of the biggest stars in the world. And guess what? They didn't do very well. They were also just about pre-workouts and stuff like that. Rise did not do very well with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was gone. Rise kind of fell off and nobody even talked about them. But now they do so many different things. Am I a fan of their formulas? No, but who cares about my opinion? They have their market and they have their followers and they're still doing phenomenal and they keep growing. Bucked Up also. I'm not a fan of the brand, but I cannot argue with their success. Their success is amazing. And what? Bucked Up, you're not going to say, oh, look, they collaborated with somebody. Good for them. No, they have so many fucking products. A lot of products. Are they good products? To me, they mediocre at best. Nothing special. But when you compare Bucked Up to Panda or to a Palm, here's Bucked Up success. Here are we. Just the facts.
Yeah. Well, from a consumer perspective, it's always good when you can look at a brand and say, oh, I'm going to buy this, but you know what? They also offer this, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to fill up my cart, and I'm going to do this. And it's a one-stop shop for you.
100%.
On the flip side, too, just about, as a reviewer, when you were asking me earlier, my channel grow, when I really noticed starting to grow, it was when I made the decision that Garage Gym Homey wasn't a person, but rather a brand. And
Absolutely.
what does Garage Gym Homey stand for? And I had to make that decision. I'm not going to treat this channel like it's me, but rather a brand that I'm growing. And GGH is a brand, and this is what it stands for. That what do I offer, to the viewer that nobody else does, and what value do I bring and as a brand. And so that's when I really started seeing more growth, and it makes a big difference. And when people come to me who, a lot of reviewers pop up and they ask me questions and, I'm like, you should definitely do it. Go for it. And my biggest advice is you should look at yourself and your channel as a brand and not as you as a person. It's a brand you're growing. And what does your brand stand for? And it's important.
Because I remember when you started, Ari, and I'm going to go back here, you were still trying to find yourself because you were doing like reviewer of your rice cooker. You were doing like not appliances, but like gadgets at one point too.
Still trying to find myself. I'm still trying to grow, and and there might be a day where I'm not doing many supplements, and I'm doing, the different kinds of content that, true to my heart. Whatever it is, I hope to continue to grow and change and, see the channel take a different turn when the time is right.
Yep. Guys, a lot of talk on protein earlier. So Dave, I'll start with you. We'll go around. When it comes to flavors, are you guys more of a classics? And I'm assuming you mean like the vanilla chocolates. Do you like more unique inclusions, not inclusions? I mean, what do you guys favor, or is there a favor one over the other when you look at the category of proteins?
I don't personally have a favorite. I mean, I'm always more towards, I guess, chocolate versus other things, but I love the branching out in these unique flavors. I'm not always going to be interested in that for a long period of time, but with, protein being 2-pound tubs nowadays or 1-pound tubs or whatever you get, it's nice to just have that variety that's in there. I like when, these companies come out with different things like, pollen, like the pistachio, that's maybe not something that everybody wants, but on the occasion, they're like, I'm going to go for something different. I got a little taste, craving. I like that. But, also something too, I want to bring up to, Robic, you had talked about, the transparency on these proteins. I mean, you really are just not seeing that. And, I hope that that's a direction that we see kind of changing going forward, because I see these things and I look at it and I see whey protein concentrate, see nothing on the website, no confirmation on these things. And all of a sudden my mind goes to, well, this is just, filler, and I'm not getting what I want.
Because it is. Because
yeah.
it is. That's the thing. You know what? To make concentrate taste good, it's fairly easy. It's the isolate, when you have, because most of the isolates, they're very watery. So, in order for them to be a little bit thicker and a little bit creamier, you have to add a little bit of fat, which will add a little bit more calories, which I personally don't mind. But, people do look at calories. People look at that. But the thing is that, and I think this is my criticism of the reviewers, they try protein, like, okay, this is chocolate. It says whey, great tasting product. How about you look on the other ingredients and you see, wow, this is concentrate. And it doesn't even say 80, which means it's less than 80%, which more than likely it's about 34%. So this is garbage filled with fillers. It's not transparent. So the 20 or 25 grams of protein, in reality, maybe if we are lucky, have 10 or 15 grams of protein. That's all it is. It tastes phenomenal. It tastes great, but it's junk. It's really, really junk. This is like basically a cheap prop blend of junk, but it says whey. There is a difference between whey isolate and whey concentrate. You should, educate your followers, your viewers, because you just reviewed a junk product and you said that it tastes good, and then you're going to compare it to something like a pollen, or you're going to compare it to something like NutriBio that also says whey, but it's isolate. I mean, that's the problem. So right now you have a lot of companies, because transparency is big right now. So you have a lot of companies that have transparent pre-workouts. Pretty much almost everybody has transparent pre-workouts now, but they don't have transparent protein. So which means they're not a transparent company. It's exactly, again, what Ari was just talking about. There's a difference between a brand and a product. So if you have a transparent pre-workout, you're not a transparent brand. You just have a transparent product. There is a huge difference. And even some of the better companies, Morphogen doesn't have a transparent protein as far as I know. Like a Pro doesn't have a transparent protein as far as I know. Ghost does. NutriBio does. I mean, that's a fact. I'm sorry. You know what? I mean, I know these people are not going to like what I'm saying, but it's the truth. And we're talking about companies that consider themselves premium. Well, are you premium? Because you're not, the 25 grams of protein, you said it's 25. It's not 25. It's actually 22, 23.5. And there is a difference. It does add up. So if you're transparent, state on your label how much protein you have. Because most of our protein is 24 grams. But if we are going by what they're claiming, then we should be saying we have 27, 28. But we don't. We actually have 24. And that's the transparency. And that's the trend where everything should be. We're talking about improving the industry. Well, how the fuck are we improving the industry? Sean reviews the product sometimes. Dave, you review the product sometimes. Ari actually did a phenomenal job recently, and we talked about this, where he actually mentioned it. Guys, this is how transparency is done. I would like to know this. And I think, as far as I remember, of all the reviewers, he's the only one who's done it. I mean, that's the way it should be. If we're talking about improving the industry, well, let's improve the industry. But you know what? Improving the industry is going to cost more money. The brands are going to have to spend a little bit more money, because the 25 grams of proteins are not 25. And if they have a concentrate, that's not even 20. And maybe it's not even 15. So you're reviewing it, you're saying, oh my God, this chocolate tastes amazing. It does. But you know what? So does Snickers bar. So does Mars. Is it good for you? Well, not exactly. So you can say it tastes good, but how is the quality? Because the quality is not there. So when Ari has these girls reviewing a protein bar and they're reviewing the flavor, I think it's phenomenal. But they're reviewing actually the flavor. He didn't say to the girls, oh, can you please break down the macros? They just reviewing the fucking flavor, and I love that because that's transparency about reviewing also. You know, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I 100% want the consumer base to be more educated when it comes to these things. Devil's advocate, are we at that point though where people care enough? You know, if they're taking a good tasting pre-workout that might be shit, they're taking a good tasting protein, and that just keeps them in that cycle of wanting to go to the gym. And after the gym, I get to take a nice tasting protein shake. Are people at that point where they care enough? You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm a super consumer. I care about stuff like that. I don't know if a majority of the people do, unfortunately. And I think, like you said,
well, you just answered that question. Do you care?
I do.
So do they. They just don't know. They don't know that they should care because they don't know any better. Because a reviewer comes and he goes like, look, it's whey protein. It's phenomenal tasting. It's good for you. It's protein. You know, every time I see people using Ensure or some other crap, they like, this has protein. Well, there are different types of protein. Educate them. Educate them. Set an example. You know, somebody has to be a leader. Somebody has to set an example. Somebody has to lead the way. Because why the fuck do I do a fully transparent pre-workout with lots of ingredients, fully dosed, that cost a lot of money to make? I can just lock it in a proprietary blend. I can put 800 or 900, and that's been done. Even 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. Send it to Ari. Ari's going to take and he's going to say, "Whoa, this is strong." And guess what? And everybody is buying it all of a sudden because they think, "Wow, this is a strong pre-workout." But if Ari's going to break down and he's going to say, "Well, this contains this, this, and this does that and that," he doesn't have to go all scientific, but education starts somewhere. And we're talking about improvements. We want better cars. We want better lifestyle. We want more money. Guess what? We want better supplements too. Maybe we don't know about it yet because nobody tells us. Obviously, the industry would like to keep it as a secret. Why? Because it saves money. Because it saves on margins. Because like Capra has on his container in a big fucking letters, 25 grams of protein. 30 servings. Yes, 30 servings, but it's not 25 grams of protein. It's actually 22 or 22.5. Is it a huge difference because it's still an isolate? No, it's not. It's not. It's not a big deal. But it does add up. It does add up. And trust me, you know what? When it comes to money, when it comes to saving, when it comes to, you know, the health, people do care. Teachers, did you know when you got into supplements of a difference between isolate and concentrate? You didn't. Somebody educated you, or you educated yourself. You did your research. Now you know that you want actually, for your buck, you want to get the best products that you're putting inside your body. You have kids. What do you want them to use? A concentrate, or you want them to use isolate? You want to use isolate, egg protein, casein, beef protein of the highest quality because you want what's best for your children. There is a term called junk food. You don't want your kids to eat junk food. You want them to eat good food. On occasion, maybe you'll spoil them here and there, but at the same time, you only want what's best for your kids. So if you're reviewing a product, don't you think you're obligated to tell people the truth? You don't think you're obligated to educate them? Perfect example, Astroflev released a nighttime fat burner with what? 250 milligram of Xylaria? The dose, I believe, is 500, 1,000, 1,500. It's 250. But look, we have Xylaria. Well, it's not enough. It's not enough. Nobody calls them out. Nobody says anything. I mean, I think the consumer deserves to know the difference. Yeah, maybe they're not reading Google and maybe they're not doing the research. But, you know, we all do something for a living and we all experts in our own field. So if somebody wants to buy something that we are experts in our field, they're going to want to pick up our brain. Then people trust us. If you're selling cars and I don't know anything about the cars, I want the best for my buck. I want the best deal. So I'm going to trust your opinion. That way you can sell me Kia for the price of Mercedes because I'm clueless. I'm clueless. That's you can trick me. But if you're going to educate me, I'm only going to be appreciating your help. I'm going to be thankful. I'm going to be grateful to you. So if we're reviewing products, how about reviewing and actually telling the truth? And I think Ari evolved tremendously. That's the reason why from day one, from 3.5 years ago, he is where he is with his channel growing 1,000 subscribers every month, because people trust him. People trust his transparency, because he doesn't say, oh my God, I used this pre-workout 5 times. No, I used it once. And this is my experience. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to shine no schlong. That's a fact. That's a fact. And that's, I think, the reason why people like him. That's the reason why people trust him. And I think everybody should be doing it. Are people there, like you said? No, they're not. People are buying still Optimal Nutrition from Costco, and that's a #1 selling protein. But they would be very grateful to you if you actually presented them with education and knowledge. And then they can make educated decision whether they want to get the cheaper products or they want to get the better products. Because I assure you that people that go to Costco don't know that Optimal Nutrition is not the best protein on the market.
Yep.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
So getting back to the original question, Robic, if you look at your 50-50 line, okay, when you have your vanilla and chocolate, how much of a gap is there between, let's say, those two versus the mango lassi, the Kiev cake? I mean, as it sales percentage-wise, or do you even know?
It's exactly what Dave said. Dave nailed it. The truth is that the flavors, the exotic flavors, the new flavors, the different flavors, people always crave them. They do.
Okay.
But nothing will sell like chocolate, vanilla, maybe to a certain extent peanut butter, especially with American consumer. If you go to the expo in Europe, people like everything that is different. People like everything that is new. Over here, they're a little bit more careful. They still go with safety. So the truth is like Dave said, he likes chocolate, right? So whatever brand he prefers, he's going to buy chocolate. If it's, say, 2-pound containers, he's going to buy a 2-pound container on a monthly basis because that's his go-to. But something like, I don't know, carrot cake or maybe, some other crap, he's going to buy a container, and that container is going to last him probably 6 months to a year because he will use it once in a blue moon. So the bottom line is, for a brand, it's not very cost effective because I'm going to buy a few pellets of chocolate and Dave's going to use that in a year. But I'm going to buy a few pellets of, I don't know, again, carrot cake or something like that, or marshmallow something, and Dave's going to use one container every 6 months to a year. Well, guess what? The company is losing money or not selling as fast. So maybe those should be more like a limited releases here and there. But your bread and butter, you don't need to go crazy. Chocolate, vanilla, peanut butter, to a certain extent, maybe strawberry. Those are the flavors that are always going to, rank supreme. Everything else, not so much. At least I think so. I mean, again, as a consumer, Dave probably will agree with me here.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. Yeah.
If you brought up in our chat, our private chat, about Martha Stewart in Project, I didn't get deep enough into it. Do you know any more? Shedding light? They
did Project One is a brand. They did a collaboration with Martha Stewart this last week. They announced it, and I think I don't know if it was a greens product or a collagen or maybe both. But expanding out to reach obviously a much broader audience based on just your gym goers. My mom doesn't know who Robic is. My mom doesn't know who Garage Gym Homey is. My mom knows who Martha Stewart is. So and like you said, so if she's in Costco, just say, for example, that product is there. She doesn't know anything, but she sees it there and she sees, oh, Martha Stewart in greens. Oh, well, this is, obviously it's healthy. And if it's good enough for Martha and I like her and I like what she's done, there's your sale. It's just one of the different kind of collabs that I saw coming out this last week, and people thinking out of the box maybe a little bit.
Okay. Has anybody seen the Deion Sanders and Redcon 1? It was announced like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ari, I suggest you go to Redcon 1 and look. There's a conversation between Aaron and Deion, and it's the most uncomfortable, awkward conversation I hate to say you would ever see. But I guess they're coming out with a energy drink line. I don't know, but have you heard anything, Robic? Obviously you saw it, but you're
I didn't dive into it, but I saw it. I mean, It's exactly again what Dave said. Martha Stewart will have more appeal than Jay Cutler. That's for sure. That's just the way it is. It's mainstream, and mainstream will always have more. Will anyone listen to me or to Dave or to Ari? Probably not. Because again, we're not there. The consumer is not there. It will take a lot more to educate the consumer. And let's not forget, what was the latest one a couple of years ago or something like that? The obesity rate in the United States, what, 50%, 60%?
Yep.
That's where we stand as a nation. So I don't think anyone gives a shit about us. But Martha Stewart is a household name. So people will definitely go. So I think that the brands kind of start to realize at the end of the day, maybe I have principles, maybe Ari has principles, but not many people do. A majority of people still will go with mainstream, and mainstream, it's all about money, which is, we also want to make money, but the thing is, there's different types of money. The big bucks are with celebrities, that have millions and millions of followers. Look at The Rock, right? His energy drink is probably, in my personal opinion, is the worst tasting energy drink I have ever tried. It's just disgusting. It's so bad, but it's The Rock. I've seen people around the gym drinking it. They bring it with them to the gym, even though we sell Ghost, we sell the good ones, but they will bring because it's The Rock. They're going to buy whatever The Rock sells. I personally like his clothes, but I don't like his energy drink. I think it's shit. I don't know about his tequila because I don't drink alcohol. But the thing is that mainstream will always be mainstream, and you can't beat that. And this is still going to be. Maybe it will change one day, but right now, Radcon and Stellucor, they're gonna go for mainstream, and you can't blame them. They have the money, they have the financial backing to go after the big boys, and that's where the big boys are. They're not gonna go after Ari. No offense, Ari. They're not gonna go after somebody more reputable and somebody more honest. They're gonna go with somebody with more clout and somebody who has a lot more reach, and that's just the state of where we are as a culture.
Yep. Dave, any questions? Anything? Any other questions going on?
No, not really. We talked about some of these other things are going on. Obviously, first quarter, there was some headline shakeups. Couple of cage mass exodus of some of those employees. Glaxon, the bottom falling out, and that company going completely bankrupt, and a lot of change there. And so, I ask a question to Robic. When you see a company like all the things that transpired with that, do you see that as an opportunity to take some of this market share on, or how do you view that?
You know what? We are a small brand. That's what I consider us. I always consider us as a small brand, but we are a growing small brand. Little by little, we're expanding word of mouth. People like yourself, people like Hari, certain athletes, people that try the products and they see the difference. So I think it's a one by one case rather than taking a million of customers right away. I think Caged went very, very aggressive because they also started as a smaller brand. I think they went very aggressive, and at the end of the day, they just couldn't do what the appetite dictated. I think that they went and they bid a little bit more that they can handle, and I think it backfired. The whole excuse that, oh, we actually want to be smaller, that nobody wants to be smaller. Everybody wants to get bigger. Ari doesn't want 1,000 subscribers. He wants 2,000 subscribers. Everybody wants to grow. So when somebody says, we actually want to be a little bit more compact and a little bit smaller, that just says, we failed, things didn't work out, and that's it. Is it an opportunity? I guess, I guess it's an opportunity, because if there were 10 brands and there's 9, or one is smaller, then obviously you have a little bit more in terms of market share. So I don't want to say it's great, because I don't wish on anyone, to fail or anything like that. I want everybody to succeed, and I wish everybody only the best of luck. But of course, it creates more opportunities, but at the same time, you have new brands popping up left and right. So I don't know. We have to concentrate on us. Apollon has to concentrate on Apollon. In terms of Glaxon, honestly, I think that, did I see it coming? No. I'd be lying if I said that I saw it coming. But the truth is that Glaxon it's not about the product. It's something the company did a couple of years ago where they messed up and now they're kind of paying for it. But the truth is that many companies have messed up. It just happens to be that they got caught and doing something that a lot of other companies are doing. A lot of other companies are selling illegal substances. A lot of companies are selling SARMs. There's a company still that sells DMHA and whatnot, and you have companies that sell DMAA as well. It just somebody, they got caught. I think it's a pure case of misfortune and being unlucky. I always admired Glaxon for their branding. I always admired Glaxon. I have good relationship with Michael, and all I can say is actually I feel bad for what happened to them, because I have nothing but respect for Michael, and it's very, very unfortunate case that happened, and that's it.
Yeah. So guys, as we wind down, Ari, question for you. When you and I first met, okay, you're on the podcast, I don't know, maybe 6-8 months into the channel, you might have had, for a weird number, 6, 7, 8,000 people, 6,000, 6, 7, 8,000 followers. Fast forward now.
Not a chance. Not a.
Okay. All right. I'm old, bro. I just turned 52. I'm old.
Yeah. Few hundred. Probably had a few hundred.
Do you feel complete with yourself because you've got a great following, lots of friends, beautiful woman, 2 great kids? Is there anything missing in your life?
No, nothing's missing in my.
The dogs, you forgot the dogs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the fur babies too.
No, I have everything beyond everything I could ever want, and I mean that from the heart. There's nothing else. There's nothing I'm missing. I have a passion in life, multiple passions in life. I have a relationship with my family. I have nothing to hide. It's just everything's beautiful. I just hope to continue to grow and do better. I mean, I fall short constantly and act in ways I don't want to act. I say things I don't want to say. I constantly, I times I live in fear, or I'm angry, or I'm selfish, or I've been dishonest, and I hope to, just want to continue to grow and do better. And but as far as all the things in my life, there's nothing missing. No, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
All right, you don't see this, but the comment section is just blowing up. Love for Ari. I'm here for Ari. God loves God. So many products I would have known about thanks to Ari. I mean, it's blowing up over here, Ari. I'm being honest.
I appreciate everybody. I'm blessed anybody drop by to watch, and the support is, as I said at the beginning, the love and everything, and being able to connect with people has been the biggest blessing. And people don't see the back end, people who hit me up in the email, and I've been able to sponsor and guide through the 12 steps and see them get sober because of the channel, and it's, it's not me, it's just channel's given me this avenue to connect with people. And I just hope that whatever I'm doing can bring value to people's lives in some way, whether it's just for a laugh, or whether it helps them stay sober, or gets them fired up about working out or supplement, whatever it is. I just hope I'm fulfilling my purpose, and I feel I am, and I hope to continue to do better. That's all. I mean, I love everybody who's, I've been on this path with, and who's been part of the channel. And I always say it's our channel, not my channel. So.
If people are just chiming into this for the very first time and don't know Ari, go to his YouTube channel, Garage Gym Homey. If you go in the archives, you learn more about Ari. Ari had a very dark past. You rose above it, and you're just positive energy, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys. Anything else as we wind down?
I think that's a great first episode.
Yes. So I'm gonna end on this here. So Ari, there's someone. His name is JF Link Bra. I don't know if BRAHH. I don't know if he says we're all homies. At the end of the day, we want to become the best versions of ourselves and help others. And I think that's a great way to end.
There we go.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yes. So everybody, thank you so much for a very successful knock on wood, first podcast. Ari, thank you for being our first guest here. We hope to be doing this every Sunday at noon. Next week, we hope to have the Review Brothers on. And if there's ever any guests that you want, anything whatsoever, please let us know. As always, thank you so much and have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.